Peace, peace, peace to everyone. Welcome back to Moving Without Motion. This is going to be the first upload for what is called Black History Month 2024. Originally started off as Negro History Week with Carter G. Woodson. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to dispel and continue to wake us up even more, because many of us are still way too asleep. Many of us are still stuck in the black, the Negro, the colored, African American, right? So today we're going to talk about the Great Kunta Kinte scam, right? The Great Kunta Kinte scam, because for the majority of us, we grew up watching the movie Roots, and we know about the quote-unquote Kunta Kinte story and Alex Haley, and how he said that it was his story about his great-grandmother and how she was a slave here in America. And we're going to dispel the Kunta Kinte story. So we're going to start off with a video that many of us have grown up seeing and watching, right? I'm going to start off with the video Roots, where this is fair use. This is for educational purposes only, so that we can see more and get more of an understanding. Because guess what? This month, this is what they're going to be showing you. This is the program that they're going to be pushing all month long. All right, so the 70s, here it is, we're in 2024, and they are still pushing the Great Kunta Kinte scam. It is beyond time for people to wake up. So here we go. I'm going to share the screen. If you haven't already, make sure that you like, make sure that you subscribe, make sure that you share. And once you subscribe, don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you will always receive any notifications when we go live on the live stream, or when we just upload a video. Again, let's get it, y'all.
I want to hear you say your name. Your name is Toby. What's your name?
Kunta. Lord God, help that boy. They're gonna whip him dead.
What's your name? Say it. Toby. Who are you? Say your name. What's your name?
Toby.
Say it again. Say it louder so they all can hear you. What's your name?
My name is Toby.
Aye. That's a good nigger. Cut him down.
What's crazy is this was the 1970s version. And so that wasn't enough because they had to double back and come and indoctrinate us some more, right? To have us and our children's children, right? Because we're talking about the 70s. Again, we in 2024 now. It was 2016 when they brought out the second one. And see, because this version wasn't enough. They had to bring out a new version, right? They had to remix it for the low. And that's exactly what they did. So we're going to watch this one, and then we're going to come back. Again, this is for educational purposes, and this is fair use.
Maybe Mr. Waller will let everyone enjoy this blessed day. I want you healthy, so you'll work hard. All you have to do is tell me your name.
I'm Kunta Kinta.
Son of a... Your name is Toby. Now tell me your name.
Kunta Kinta.
That's not your name. Toby's your name. Now what is your name?
See.
Kunta Kinta.
Toby's your name. Now I'll ask you again. Tell me your name. Say it! Say it! Say it! Toby!
Kunta Kinta.
Toby! It's Toby! Now say it! Toby! Damn you! Bloody nigger bastard. You will not move from here till you say your name. Not if night falls or a new day comes. You will say Toby. Say it. Say it! Say it! Say it!
Tomorrow I hurt my boy.
Please. I'm here.
No, Benta. I can't see our boy. I've looked for him everywhere. He isn't coming home.
Say it! Say it! Say it! Say your name. Your owner's wife chose for you. Say your name so you know this ain't Africa. This is Virginia, and you're the property of John Waller, like the horses and hogs, nothing more. Say your name so you know what you are. Say it. Say it. Say it! Say it! Say your name! Say it! Say Toby! Tell me your name!
Now you see, he said that this is not Africa, this is Virginia, which is crazy, beyond crazy, because we're going to get into it. There's no way possible that Kunta Kinte was a name that was given to a slave in Virginia, taken from Africa. Let's get it.
Say it, damn you! Say Toby! Just say your name!
You see?
Say it again. Louder. What's your name? What's your name?
You see? That's what I'm saying.
Now, of course, again, they got to indoctrinate us, right? You got to get the programming, generation after generation. And so this book is titled Ancient History or Annals of Kentucky. And the name Kunta, Kinta, and Toby are all Choctaw names. They literally are Choctaw names, right? Now, today, most of us will say Choctaw, right? Because that was the way it was spelled on the Dawes rolls, right? Under the 5 civilized tribes, right? But it originally is pronounced and spelled differently. Is Choctaw. Okay, so Choctaw is not new, because a lot of us will say, oh, you know, that is a federally recognized tribe and it's not real, it's the fake thing, and so on and so. No, not at all. And the reason why I said that you wouldn't have anyone by the name of Kunta Kinte or Toby on a Virginia plantation is because these 3 names are Choctaw names, and Choctaw is not a tribe that's indigenous to Virginia. Never was. You won't start seeing Choctaw until you get down into your Carolinas, like lower Carolinas, like Carolina going into Georgia and your Mississippi, Alabama, you know, even the top of Florida, right? You're not gonna find Choctaw in Virginia. That just wasn't a thing, and it's still not a thing. They're just not an indigenous tribe. Okay, so let's look up. Let's get more proof, because you know, we always gotta bring in more evidence. So this is the dictionary, right? The Choctaw dictionary, and Kunta simply means to whistle with the lips. To whistle, right? That's the verb, and the noun is whistler. A whistler or a whistling, right? So we got a whistler or a whistling, right? Then we have Kinte, beaver, whistling beaver is Kunta Kinte. So you tell me and you explain to me, you're gonna have to break it down to me. How is it that you have a quote-unquote slave from Africa, right? Because in the 2016 version, they even showed a depiction of his mother and his father over in quote-unquote Africa, talking about, I hear my son, he's coming home, and the father is saying, no, our son is not coming home. And it's just to pull on your emotional heartstrings. Is to constantly get us every year, year after year after year after year, to get us in this mode of thinking and hoping and believing and rehashing something that ain't even real. Got us in our body. Got us believing that we was on these plantations and we was whipped. Literally. We were whipped on these plantations. Don't y'all understand? The same man who came up with the Negro History Week is the same man who put out the information in 1830 about who actually owned these plantations that we've been taught in public school about. It's the same man who showed proof that 1830. And if you go back and you look at the county records, you'll see, and you look at the census records and the military records, you'll see that it wasn't just 1830. We're talking about back in the 1780s, 1790s, we were still the same ones, or the parents were still, or the grandparents were still the same ones who were the original plantation owners. And guess what, y'all? They wasn't no pale-skinned Europeans. They looked just like we do today. They were Asiatic. We got to wake up because we've been asleep for too long. It's too many institutions. It's too many organizations that has rocked us to sleep. America is the true old world, and this is our home. So we have a whistling beaver, or whistler beaver. A whistling beaver. Ain't that crazy? And then Toby is his new name, right? Toby means white light. White light. Whiteness. Right? To be white or light. Poorness. To be white or light. Man, come on, y'all. Come on. Y'all don't see what it is? See, because what happened is when you go back and you actually look at the genealogy and you look at the records, and I'm not talking about DNA, that is something new, but I'm talking about ship manifest records. I'm not talking about stories from slaves. I'm talking about ship manifest records. I'm talking about court records. I'm talking about county land records, military records, right? Because in these records is going to tell the truth with no cap. All right? So even Toby has nothing to do with it being an African name. It is not the African dialect or in any African language. Never was. All three names are Choctaw words. They've really been playing with us, y'all. Roots. Plagiarism suit is settled. Oh, yeah. You didn't know? Yeah, the Roots wasn't real. It was never real. It was fake. It was a figment of the imagination of someone, and Alex Haley read it, and then he acted like it was his story. Right? This was from, let's see. This was December 15th, 1978. December 15th, 1978. But they still play the movie. They still been playing the movie every year. Says Alex Haley settled, and guess what? How many times have we watched this movie in school? This movie has been a part of school curriculums. Alex Haley settled a lawsuit yesterday by acknowledging that his world-renowned book Roots contains some material from a relatively unknown novel about slavery that was published 9 years early. The settlement ended the 6-week trial of a suit by Harold Corilander, a 70-year-old author from Bethesda, Maryland, who contended there was a substantial similarities between Roots and his own earlier novel, The African. He sued in federal district court in Manhattan for some more than half the profits of Roots. As the trial was about to reach a climax with summations by the opposing lawyers, they issued the following statement. The suit has been amicably settled out of court. Alex Haley acknowledges and regrets that various materials from The African by Harold Corilander found their way into his book Roots. They didn't find their way into his book. Alex stole it. He plagiarized. Under the agreement to settle, the amount of money that would be paid to Mr. Corilander and his publisher, Crown, was not disclosed. But the nature of the case made it seem likely that the amount would be hundreds of thousands of dollars. The defendants in the suit were Mr. Haley and his publishers, Doubleday and Dell, the American Broadcasting Company, which televised Roots, was dropped as a defendant by mutual agreement earlier in the trial. Roots rapidly became enormously successful after it was published in 1976. It won a Pulitzer Prize, sold millions of copies, and produced a series of television programs that exerted a powerful impact throughout the country. What powerful impact? It literally was a lie. It was a lie. It was a complete lie, and it sold millions of copies. Not only did it sell millions of copies, like I said before, it is still today a part of some public school and private school curriculums. Said The African sold 14,000 copies in hardcover and 133,000 in paperback during several years after its publication in 1967. Judge Robert J. Ward, who conducted in the trial without a jury, proposed a settlement a few weeks ago after Mr. Corilander's lawyer, Robert N. Kaplan, presented the case for the plaintiffs. But the defense lawyers, George Berger and Robert Callaghan, rejected the proposal. After the negotiations on the proposal broke down, the defense lawyers moved for a mistrial, arguing that the judge had proposed a settlement for an amount that they had rejected. The amount was not disclosed, but the defense lawyers said it raised the question about whether the judge could continue the trial with impartiality. Judge Ward, stressing his impartiality, ruled that the trial would continue. He made it clear at the opening of the trial that the key issue would be whether there is substantial similarity between Roots and the earlier The African. A similar case was dismissed last September by another judge, Marvin E. Franklin, who ruled there were only insignificant similarities between Roots and a 1966 novel called Jubilee that had been written by Margaret Walker Alexander, a professor at Jackson State College in Mississippi. The book by Dr. Alexander, who is one of the country's most respected Black writers, was based on what she described as the true story of her great-grandmother. She said her book depicted Black life in Georgia before, during, and after the Civil War. Her suit, which was filed in Manhattan in April 1977, alleged that parts of Roots had been largely copied from her book. At the same time, Mr. Corilander reported that Roots contained some striking similarities to his book, and he filed his suit the next month. Mr. Corilander is a novelist who has written 27 books, many of them drawing heavily on folklore. He is not Black. His book, The African, is a novel that explores the transition of Africans from tribal freedom to plantation slavery. Shortly before both copyright infringement suits were filed, the Sunday Times of London reported that its investigation by Mark Ottaway had raised many questions about the factual basis of the African portion of Mr. Haley's account of his ancestors' journey from what is now Gambia to slavery in America. Mr. Haley had conceded that parts of Roots were fictionalized, but he denied that he had knowingly made any factual errors. He defended his book about his ancestors as a symbolic history of a people. In the case of the African, Mr. Berger argued for the defense that Roots was the result of a colossal research effort by Mr. Haley. He added there was no substantial similarity between the two books within the meaning of the copyright law. Mr. Haley, testifying in his own defense, vehemently denied that he had taken any of the plot or characters in Roots from the African. He said that his book was based on the story of my own maternal family through 7 generations from Africa to America. Haley concedes 3 passages according to Mr. Haley, who is 57 years old and lives in Los Angeles. He had never even heard of the African until after Roots had been published, but he conceded that their brief passage in this book had apparently come from the earlier book. The passages were identified by Mr. Haley as references to Kunta, grandfather, on page 225 of Roots. Kunta awakening more lighthearted on page 321 in a camp meeting on page 369. He explained that someone must have given the passages to him without attributing them to the African. Well, hold on. Didn't you just say that this story was about your family? How can someone give you passages from someone else's book that you put in a book about your family, sir? Many people gave him handwritten notes and other material while he was doing his extensive research, Mr. Haley said. And student volunteers went through some of the material to find anything that might be useful to him. But again, you're supposed to be writing a true story about your family. So what students are you going to help you write this story? You should be going directly to your family. Somewhere he added, somebody gave me something that came from the African. That's the best honest explanation I can give. The 3 passages mentioned by Mr. Haley were cited by Mr. Kaplan, the lawyer for the plaintiffs, who also referred to a number of other passages that had allegedly been copied. An example cited by Mr. Kaplan concerned a field call used by plantation slaves in the African. He said that the key words are, well, yo-ho, aho. Don't you hear me calling you? A similar incident occurred in the Roots manuscript. He continued, and it says, from the road not long after the field, hands heard a rising, lingering, singing song. Yo-ho, aho, spelled the same way. Don't you hear me calling you? Y'all, here we go. We've been played once again. It's time for us all to wake up. It's time for us to realize that we are home. And we are at a time where our home is being invaded, much of like it was in the 1900s and the 1800s. If you haven't already, please get your trust set up. Get your family's estate established. Do your genealogy and go back and get all of the land that belongs to your family, because you're going to need it. Islam with that, came in love, and I leave in peace. Islam to you all. If you want more information, you can reach us at www.mstahohr805.co, or you can reach us at 877-808-2477. Peace and love. Until next time, don't fall for the okie doke, because Roots is definitely the great Kunta Kinte scam.